to Street Smart.
Welcome. Cue music. I'm Gabby, your Puerto Rican host of awesomeness.
And I'm Gwen. And yeah, today oh my gosh, we're back.
We're back together again. We've been reunited and it feels so good.
I know. But the solo ups were very good, I think. Like, everyone enjoyed, like, both of them.
Yes.
And yeah, it's nice to know that we can go on vacation.
Exactly. Definitely. And it definitely helps for both of us say more than what we could say together in an episode. And
Yeah.
sometimes the topics will just warrant that. So, we're giving you guys variety. We're giving solo eps. We're giving together eps. Who knows what's next? We
Giving the
might
people
be
what they
recording
want.
episodes on a train. Like,
Yeah, and it works. I mean, yeah, like we were just saying, like 30 minutes isn't that long, but it's still like a nice bite-sized episode where people can like just listen in, like on their commute and like get to know us like individually, which I think was like super helpful like in the beginning
right.
episode, so that was fun.
Yes. Shout out to all our viewers everywhere, but especially those outside the country. We see you on the stats. We appreciate you. We have like three more countries to, not countries, continents to unlock. I feel like Thanos right now. Asia, Africa, we're coming for you. We're coming for you.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, like the European ones. I'm like, okay, hey guys.
Yeah, Europe, South America, Mexico. Wow.
Oh.
I
Yeah,
feel the
we're like
love. I don't
we're
know who's
like
in
so
Mexico listening to our podcast, but thank you. So, Gwen, how have you been?
pretty good. Exhausted, but
What's
that's
new?
the time of year.
Yeah,
Just like
that's
just
real.
work. The planning sector is popping off right now, which is great, but it's the season of like resting and like celebrating, and I'm ready to like do both of those things. But I have some like time off coming up. We can like gonna start focusing on like what we want for Street Smart next year, and just like what new things we want to have, and just starting to like even for myself personally just look into like some of my goals for the upcoming year. But yeah, what have you been up to? How the holiday season has just begun. Your
Yeah,
Christmas tree is gorgeous in the background.
thank you. Thank you. So, wrong way. Yeah, the holidays for me are not over that overwhelming, I guess. I'm more overwhelmed with work
Yeah,
and how
same.
like there's this rush to get everything done, and because I was out of work, how I had to rush to like catch up kind of thing, and now a lot of people are just out on vacation, so trying to cover for them, trying to make sure all my projects are where they need to be. So that's really like, but today was actually pretty calm, so maybe the chaos isn't too rampant right now, but
Yeah.
Christmas is never really like super chaotic for me unless I make it chaotic by doing last minute Christmas shopping, which I'm not doing this year because I just bought all of my Christmas gifts when I was in Europe. So it's
Oh,
like
that's the
souvenir is
best.
the gift. Merry Christmas, you
I
know?
always have to like when I'm traveling just like think of who's like what event is coming up next where this could be like a special gift.
Yep. Or a birthday or something. Exactly. So,
It's crazy how like so many people take off, but yet like everyone wants everything done right now. So,
honestly, literally, or like for
what are
us
we
trying to
doing?
push things forward and we're like, we haven't even decided, like it's the end of the year, half of our staff is out. Like we're not going to look at this
Oh
for
my
like
gosh, yes. Everyone has left the building. There is
yes.
no one's looking at this. No one's doing it. And I don't know why there's so many like planning emergencies right now. I'm like this stuff is going to be on the shelves for like 2, 3 years. This does not need to be happening in like a week's time. Let people enjoy themselves and like get to the end of the year without stressing. And that's all it's been.
Yeah. Right? Exactly. Exactly. So, next segment, indie streets. Gwen, have you come across any cool planning things recently that you would like to share, or community events, anything happening around you where you're at?
I think I shared a lot last time with like holiday markets and stuff, but it was so funny like just being in Richmond and looking at like bus lanes. I'm like,
You see
I'm
how they
so
painted them red?
I
They
know. It's
painted
like
them.
the industry standard though. Like
Oh, it is?
they should
Okay.
have been red in the beginning, which is very
Hmm.
it's interesting that they weren't, but I'm glad that they are because that's like how they're supposed to be.
I didn't know.
Um, the paint color is a little vibrant. If you live in Richmond, you know exactly what we're talking about. The red is quite bold,
Yeah.
but
Definitely
I
a different
think
vibe than the green that they once were. Definitely sends a different message.
yeah, like definitely like don't go in there, but people still go in the
Yeah.
lanes. But yeah, and
Skateboarders, bikers.
I think the red is so vibrant because I'm so used to being in cities that already have like transit priorities. So like the
Mm.
red paint has been on the ground for like years, so it's just like so worn. And then
Yeah.
Richmond's like it's nice and shiny. So,
Mm.
but yeah, there's no like there's nothing cool going on right now. Um, that's like super interesting to talk about. We just had like a like the Green Line in Boston, if anyone's familiar, in MBTA. They just opened like an extension, which is super cool. And there were like hundreds of people that, like the first train, it's an extension in Somerville
Hmm.
from like downtown to Medford, where like Tufts University is. And that was like kind of a transit desert. But now those people have that connection, and like the Green Line's still super slow, and like it's just a historic trolley line. But
Mm.
like you went on the Green Line when you
Yeah.
were in Boston, and yeah, it's not like rapid transit, but it's still
It's
something.
still
Like
public transportation, though.
yeah, it's
Not
still something.
rapid, but
And so many people were out there like celebrating and like yeah, at like 4 a.m. like getting on the train to do like the inaugural like ride. So that was really cool, and a lot of people at my job were like waking up for it and like super hyped about it. And I was like, I love transit, but no.
wow.
I was
That's funny.
like- and I'm a morning person. I was like, no.
She is, guys. She really is.
What have you seen lately? What's like happening in DC, or even when you were traveling? I mean, like, I feel
Yeah.
like Europe's like planning Mecca. I mean,
It is. It was really interesting, like just seeing how all the cities that I went to were built. I went to London, Paris, and Barcelona, and just seeing how different yet similar they were, and then comparing and contrasting to like the United States. They're all those cities are way more walkable.
oh yeah,
And I would say most cities in the United States, definitely comparable to New York with the level of like walkability, public transportation, all of like just how accessible and easy it is to learn and just hop on the train. If you're someone who's familiar with transit, like it's so easy to just pick up. I also really loved how in Europe everything is in like 5 different languages and everyone speaks at least like 2 languages. Cause going to Paris, I was a little nervous because je parlais un petit français, but I like that's like it and like 3 other phrases. But then like I could default to Spanish and people knew Spanish, so I'm like, okay, cool,
yeah.
cute. It was cool to be in Barcelona and see how it was like this melting pot of Latin America. People from all over Latin America lived there, and that was just so dope to me. Like I could hear it in the accents, I could see it just how people look. It was just really, really dope, and like I could low key envision my life there. All of the places had like really nice parks and a lot of public spaces to just chill.
Oh my God, yeah. That's like such a huge difference. And like
Yeah. That
It's
was
so,
really my favorite part, honestly.
and they feel so much safer
Yeah.
because of the walkability of the space and how dense it is. Because there's just always eyes on these spaces, and like, yeah,
And
it's
they're well
crazy.
lit at night.
Exactly.
Like I don't I don't know about you guys, but like Richmond, DC are both cities where like certain places are well lit, but then you go a few blocks away and it's just darkness. And that is not safe for anybody. But like in Europe, all of the public parks are well lit. And
Yeah.
that makes so much of a difference when it comes to like the vibe of everything. That was cool. All those cities are like metropolitan, so it's like everybody from everywhere. So I'm over
Literally.
here eating all types of food all the time. And as a foodie, like that was just so good. Like the paella was great. I had Lebanese food in London that was so good. Like everywhere. And then I had mad wine when I was in France.
Oh
I was
yeah.
only there one night and I drank way too much.
It's like
It was worth
so
it.
easy. Wine so inexpensive and like
Yes. I was
so
like
inexpensive.
$3 for a mini bottle. Listen, €3? Say less.
I'm literally like, yeah, say less. Like,
Literally say less.
yeah, I feel like my experiences have been the same. I feel like with language, people get confused. They're like, I don't know, I'm not confused. It's more so like, I feel like it's been 50-50. Like, some people, they're just like, let's not go through this, just speak English to me, like, because I speak English. And then you
Yeah.
get some people that are kind of like, okay, we can like, like let's like fuck around and try this out.
Yes.
You
Yes.
can like say
Facts.
a few words and then like the conversation will just switch to English.
Yep.
But it is really impressive, like just I don't know, people just being bilingual, trilingual, and then
And it's like the norm there.
oh
So
yeah,
it is like everyone is on that level. All of the signs are in a million different languages too. And so that it just has like so much more accessibility.
oh for sure, yeah, yeah, and even though like some spaces seem like inaccessible, more like to a like mobility standpoint because the buildings are so old. I feel like there's so much like retrofitting and like accommodation like coming along where it's like so much faster than like a lot of places in the States for sure. Like
Yeah.
we're just light years behind. But those cities were built to be that way, and here it's crazy. We've like literally started from scratch, and then our cities, I mean, they're just centered around vehicles, and yeah, we just every place feels kind of like a little hostile, and like you can't be there after certain hours. It feels like it's policed. It feels like you can't loiter, or you can't just like sit and like do like schoolwork or like I don't know, even just like your regular like job and work on your
Yeah.
laptop. It feels like you're not allowed to be in some of these like public spaces sometimes. Like, yeah, I feel like in DC too, it's like they have all these like lawns and parks and promenades, and it doesn't feel as like relaxing and enjoyable for a lot of people and like everyone.
Yeah. I wonder if that just also plays into the semi-hostile culture that is just American culture.
Oh,
You
for
know,
sure. Yeah.
like when you live in certain parts of this country, you just kind of have certain things in the back of your mind. And
Yeah.
you when you step outside, especially as a woman, like you're concerned for your safety. And so even when you're in a relaxing place, you're still thinking about those things.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't live in Europe, so I'm not super hip to like that level of like cultural normacy or anything. I will say though, like I really loved Europe, but then like some people keep bringing back to reality and they're like, of course it's so great, Gabriella. Like they're the colonizers. They just went, stole everything and bought it back. And they've been able to, tweak it for so long because their societies have not fallen, but they have destroyed others. And I was like,
Facts.
that right there
And it's
is
crazy because
exactly it. That is
it's
it.
it's
That's it.
like a lot of people And I mean, a lot of, like, the cities you talked about, they have become like melting pots and stuff. But
Yeah.
even like when I was living there, it was like people didn't understand like how I could be black and American, which like this person I spoke to was definitely like very ignorant, but it was like, you have so much learning to do. And like, now it's not the time for me to do that for you. It was like late at night at a bar. Like, I'm
Oh, meh.
like, clearly that person was not worth my time. But
Yeah.
it still seemed like people I met, they're just like, where are you from? And, but there is a lot of like migration from like African countries and
Yes.
countries where people are like,
The Caribbean, Africa, to
darker,
Europe.
and they
Yes.
like don't understand like how do you have the skin complexion and you're not from like one of these places. And I was like, oh, well, we can go back that far. Like, they just did not get it, but I totally get it. Like, a lot of people don't know about like different slave trades into Europe, and things like that. Like, it did go the other way, but we're just not taught those things, and we're barely taught about our own. So yeah, Europe's interesting, but it's so pretty, and it's good to see the world. So
Exactly. It's nice to see how other people live and
yeah, for sure.
just what is going on over there, really. That's what's so great about just like staying at an Airbnb and just sussing out the vibes on your own. You just are really seeing on the ground, like, how are people living here? Like, what is this really about versus what people say it is? So that was really cool to experience.
I mean, we're just people that prefer to like see
Yeah.
people's experiences and daily
Be around
lives.
regular ass people. Not like a
Exactly.
curated environment, just, like the natural, organic city environment. Very
Exactly.
different. And if you know, you know. If you're a person that stays at hotels versus a person that just stays wherever, like you know the difference.
Exactly.
Comment down below if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like,
That's
what's your
practical.
most interesting experience staying in another country, like
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
neighborhood, um and
Love
yeah,
it.
there's definitely places to avoid if you're not like a local and stuff, and if you're just, obviously, if you're by yourself or uncomfortable, I
Yeah,
totally get that. But
yeah.
I'd love to hear people's experiences, and like, everyone's is going to be different, and especially just being from different places and having different backgrounds, it's interesting.
Right, right, right. And I'll say my last thing is that the street art in Barcelona was just amazing. So
And the
much art.
architecture.
Yes, the art and the architecture, and then just all the plants. It's just like the environment for me as a creative person was just like peak
It's like stunning.
environment, peak inspiration right here. Like it was great.
But yeah, we can,
Let us
after
move
our like
on.
after our like 20-minute intro, if you're still
Yes.
here, like.
Guys, we're getting better. We're trying our best.
But yeah, so today's episode.
On today's episode, we're talking about our jobs. Our
Why
jobs.
we do
We
them.
already kind of introed and talked a
We
little
did,
bit about
yeah.
them. We gotta remember to like talk about the main topic in the beginning, so then we
Yeah.
can like loop back around to it. Because I don't mind the long intros, but it's like we gotta remember to tell people what this episode is about.
I know. Sorry, guys.
We're getting better. We're getting better.
I know, it's a learning process. I think most people that listen to us, like, they love us and support us, and that's all that matters. But yeah, I think, yeah, during our solo episodes, we talked, I think we, like, both of us kind of touched on, like, what we do, and, like, I feel like that was kind of a part of, like, why we live in the places
Yeah.
we're at. So I feel like today we want to hit on a little bit more about, like, the significance of our jobs, and, like, why they're important to us, and, like, why they matter, rather than, like, yeah, we'll definitely talk about, just like, reiterate like what they are, and what our roles are within the companies and places that we work for, but definitely getting a little bit deeper than just like, this is what I do every day.
Facts. Do you want to take it away, Gwen?
Yeah, I can start us off. So I think everyone knows, or everyone knows about
I
me.
know, right? Everybody knows
Everyone
already.
knows about
But
me.
please reiterate for the people, where you work, how long you've worked there, and what kind of work do you do?
Yeah, so I'm a transit planner or transit planning consultant. Yeah.
There
I
you
don't
go.
know why it took me so long to say that. It's a mouthful though, but yeah, I work for a consulting firm called Nelson Nygaard. And yeah, we do transit and transportation planning across the U.S. And I feel like now we're kind of touching on um, I guess like territories and other places, but we're not really like a national firm yet. So that's been exciting to like see some projects um, go a little bit out of the contiguous 50 states. So yeah, and then I mainly focus on public transit, so like buses, trains. Um, what else? I do a little bit of like micro mobility work, the annoying scooters that everyone hates, bike
Oh,
share work, and also just like infrastructure too. So like the
mm,
infrastructure that goes along with those would be like transit priority, like bus lanes, and getting like transit signal priority, like the signal heads that you see on the street that kind of give the bus like a go ahead so they can get around vehicles and kind of expedite their way through traffic without getting held up. And then also just like bike paths and things like that, and making bike lanes, dedicated bike lanes, and kind of taking up some of that street space. So I work on like a little bit of that, and then of course we have like some engineers in my firm, and we're also owned by a larger architecture firm. And sometimes like our work combines where sometimes we'll work with like some landscape architects and designing some spaces, and we do like a little bit of campus planning. We do work with like cities a lot, and then we work for like some private companies. But yeah, that's what I do. And I've been out on my job for like a year, almost 2 years now. It's flying by, but I think that's it. Yeah, I feel like I'm missing something, but I'm sure I'll bring it up. But yeah, do you want to explain what you do, or I can keep going.
I can explain my job. So, I work for DCPS as a project manager. The projects that I manage are infrastructure, renovation, modernization, and so that includes the public schools. That can be anything from an entire school being modernized, gut demolished, structural demolition, interior demolition, site work on the outside. That could be playgrounds, athletic fields, traffic gardens, regular gardens, fencing. What else? Additions being built for new programming. All of those things. Literally anything structural or infrastructure based about a school that needs to be changed, demolished, rebuilt. That is my job. Not all the schools. I have 5 schools, main school projects, essentially. And I guess I could list them off.
And people might know like someone who's like, I don't know, kid attended these schools, or like they might have attended them. Like
Definitely,
you
that
just
is
never know. So
true. Yeah, so I'm doing Dorothy Height in Northwest. That is Ward 4? Yeah, Ward 4. Truesdale in Northwest. That is Ward 4 too, I believe. Those are both complete and total infrastructure modernizations. So we're going to demolish the entire building and renovate, as well as add additions to them to assist with their expanded programming. I also have 2 projects that are additions that are specifically for child care development centers. So the mayor put out an initiative my first year that I worked at DCPS, basically trying to expand free daycare That's what a CDC is essentially.
Yeah.
Child Development Center, daycare, 0 to 3 years old. Because from pre-K 3 onward, DCPS already has that in their, school curriculum wheelhouse. So you can have schools here that are literally from pre-K 3 years old, all the way through middle school. Like,
Oh, wow.
and both of the schools that I'm assisting, or those are my projects, those are those types of schools. They're also very small. It's very interesting to me. They have lower populations. They're more like neighborhood schools. And those are two additions. And all of these buildings that I've listed so far are also historic, which means they're over 100 years old. So that also kind of comes into play in my job a lot, historical preservation, which is really dope. I recently toured one of my big modernization projects, Dorothy Height. They're almost done with the interior and structural demolition, and it looked so wild. Like, just seeing the shell of this massive building, it's crazy. It is so cool. And then my last project, we're just renovating a pool area. It must have been some kind of pool for like occupational therapy or swim lessons back in the day. Now it's just sitting in a school. It was storage for, but yeah, so that's my job. It's a pretty good summary of what I do. My days don't really look the same because there's so much that is involved in project management that I was just not aware about until I started this job.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like the gist. That's like the overall picture. The day-to-day stuff, you just never really know.
I'm actively avoiding project managing, because it just includes like way too many people, way too many things. But
there are different forms of it, like one project
Yeah.
manager is different than another one for sure, but it is a lot of moving parts. So many moving parts.
I feel like that's the interesting thing about like what I do though, like, and I mean even what you do, like no day kind of looks the same. Like we do the same like type of projects and work, but because like we're working with like different transit agencies or like different cities, like, there's only but so many things you can do that are like textbook. Like some stuff just has to like ebb and flow, and like also like learning like about different communities is like why I enjoy like what I do, and like learning about different spaces and just being open to like also doing like a lot of public outreach and engagement. And like I know you've done this too, like speaking with communities and like getting out there. And I know definitely there's like some people that don't want to do those things when they enter a job, like they just don't want to talk to people or they're just not comfortable with it. But I'm like, these are the people that I'm planning for. These are the people that like are going to use this bus service, like whatever it may be. It's like I want to know like what's going to impact them, what's going to like make their lives easier getting like to and from work, or to like pick up their kids and like just do daily activities and stuff. And it's like a lot easier when you can like talk to these people and just have interesting conversations with like people you would have never had a conversation with. And I feel like being a consultant, I think it depends on what kind of consulting you do, because there's definitely a stigma. But the consultant,
Definitely, it's like what
totally
consulting are you in? Who do you work for? Like, because I mean, I can't even lie. Some of the consulting agencies out here are just shaking my head.
yeah. I always
Terrible.
I always avoid saying like I'm a consultant. Like I never just come out and say like I'm a consultant. I'm like, well, I do transit planning.
Right. It's really how you want to identify yourself. Like, do you want to identify as a consultant or?
But I feel like that's just like me and my nature. Like, but I think that's like the most interesting part, like about my job. I mean, yeah, like planning bus routes is like really cool, and like we do a lot of mapping and we do a lot of like wayfinding work, and like we do a lot of like charrettes, kind of like seeing what will work and like different scenarios to improve like transit systems and like mobility in spaces. But I find it like the most rewarding thing about my job is like getting feedback from communities and being able to like implement what they want. And we're not coming at them like, oh well, this bus is slow or it's underperforming. Let's get rid of it. And it's like, no. Like, who's using that? Like, why is that important?
Yeah.
And why is it necessary to, keep this bus in service or keep, is it historic? Like, who is using that? Like, what jobs are located on that route? And like, I'm sure you've experienced this with like, with schools too. Like, what's important elements that communities want in their schools, what's like stuff they want, shown to like reflect their community.
Absolutely. I would say that DCPS does a good job providing that program wise, and I should make this clarification that my job is not to specifically impact that programming, or we're creating space for the programming. But that's why we work with so many different departments within DCPS, but also outside of DCPS, because there are so many different things for every different, so many different nuances and details and unique aspects of every single community in DC, every single neighborhood, every single ward, every single ANC district. And the people here are very active at making sure that like their needs are met, for better or for worse sometimes. I can't lie, like getting yelled at by people I don't know is not rewarding. But I just also don't take that. I'm just like, this meeting will end right now. I don't do the disrespect. But it's interesting. A lot of my job is community engagement. I engage with the broader community, but then also the school community. So the school communities are always like these little microcosms in which like these working organisms, these working machines where you get to see how it all unfolds every single day, all the things that are put into it, all the logistics, all the operations, food and nutrition, early childhood, English second language, like accessibility, behavioral, and, cognitive differences within the children. Like, it's so wild that we have to look at all of that and then like create a building for all of it, essentially, or create spaces literally for it. But
that's kind of like literally building blocks to make the perfect building and perfect space for like
it's like mini city planning, essentially. It's like if you know your these things, like this is what you put in your city. Every school is like a little city where we're just trying to cater to the needs of the students first, always the students first, and then the instructional staff. The staff and the students are our main priority. And I think that's where some of the broader community kind of loses focus of that. It's like, we're building for specific people here, the students and the staff. Like, I know they're drilling at 8 o'clock in the morning, but this is a community asset that we're building.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I can't do anything about that. So, my job is just interesting, There are so many different sides of community engagement that I encounter and have to deal with. But I do like that I have the autonomy to handle it how I want to. That makes it a lot easier. Yeah. For me personally, I know other people would probably like something that has a little bit more protocol, but it's hard to fit everyone in the same, one size fits all type of solution.
Oh, yeah. And it's the same, like, with my job. We can't just, even how I was saying, like, we can't just do this one thing, copy paste.
Yeah.
In different places. Like, that's not how you go about things. And that's why it's so important to, like, listen to people and like know what they need. And and I mean there's definitely like examples of like different activities you can do or different ways to like engage people and get them to like actively participate. But when it comes to like kind of the solutions and like recommendations and like how we approach different places, like that changes, across the board, like all the time. That will never be the same. And I've done like a lot of outreach, even in like different states, and like there's different things that go just with different places, and it's interesting. We still do like such in-depth like demographic analyses and like market analyses and understanding like what the jobs are in that community, like what's kind of the historical background of that community. Will they be like trusting of people trying to fix their transit systems, and also just kind of gauging how maybe not other like consulting firms, but other people like coming in to maybe like fix certain things with there's experience working with like the government, or kind of just like public officials. And that it comes down to that, who would like advocate for like buses, who would advocate for bike lanes, and kind of teaming up with those community representatives first, to be able to even like to get a seat to like start to help. It starts like so far along, and I feel like that's nothing like grad school could have taught me.
For me, that's different. When I worked in Richmond, my whole unit, everyone was like 50 plus. And so it's just a completely different vibe of like, just quiet and isolated, and, you can't talk about what's really going on in the world with people, versus now we're like, my team, we can send memes to each other and on Teams, and we can just joke with each other. We go to happy hours together and just like vibe out when we have the time.
I feel like we were both in jobs too that were very like, just, I'm not sure if like, trying to find the word for it, but just very like in the box places.
So
where like, so straightforward, like these processes are here, like let's follow them day to day, churn it out, go home, do the same thing tomorrow. And I think we both like craved, I want something different the next day, or I want to, for me, I'm like, I love that I can work on this project from 9 in the morning until 2 p.m. and then I can switch and work on something else, and it be like a different task, it be a completely different like project. And I love that. Like I definitely crave being in, it feels like I'm in a different space, a different headspace. It's like I turn on like I put on like a different cap, and I think that's like the part I love most about it. And like working with planners, I think we are like in general in a progressive like field and industry. Where
and
people are just trying to help.
Well.
Exactly. Like we're all, well, we hope the goal like is that we're all trying to help people, and that, and maybe we just found the perfect places to do that. Like I'm definitely sure, I'm not speaking for all like firms and like all like, people that are in like planning, but besides DOTs, they keep building roads. But anyways, there's like definitely a space like where I'm at now where it's just, I feel like it's rewarding and I'm actually helping people, and all I've wanted to do.
That's great. I share that sentiment as well. Just like, I definitely know that I'm helping and I'm impacting people. I see that every single day, for sure. And my days are not the same, even though I have like reoccurring meetings every week. So there is like that sense of routine, but like I can fill my time how I want to fill it. I can work on whatever project I want to work on when I want to work on it, so long as there's no like super pressing deadline, because then that's different once deadlines come into play. But I have that flexibility.
And I mean, that's the thing, like we still know we like work, but it's nice that, and sometimes it does feel rigid, sometimes it does feel like, but I think that's anyone in any job, in any feel like sometimes it is like exhausting and you just need a break. Like that's totally, understandable, but
Yeah.
it doesn't like take away from like what we're doing and how it's like impacted different communities and spaces. Like we still know like the work we're doing is still good, and yeah, I'm just glad we both fell into something that's like something that we love, and we can like be the creative and individuals that we are. But I will put out a quick plug for Nelson Nygaard.
Oh,
Like anyone listening has any questions um, or yeah, like I don't know, any questions about like what I do or like I think on Instagram I'm trying to do more like bus related, transit related stories. But yeah, we're like always hiring, and maybe not around this time because it's a bit slow, but
yeah.
just reach out. I got you. If you want to learn more about transit, if you want to work in transit, let me know.
Yes. Hit her up.
Yep.
Hit her up.
But I think that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
This was
there's
such
always
a good
more to
episode.
say, but as we've said before, as the podcast continues and we put out more episodes, you'll learn more about who we are, our jobs, the things we encounter day to day. It will just come out with the planning stories as you guys are hearing more and more. We're really just trying to like lay that foundation right now, get certain episodes out of the way. So people, if you're listening now, but we put out this episode 2 years ago and you're just finding us, you can have a background working knowledge of our jobs, us specifically talking about our jobs, versus in another episode where we'll mention it in passing or, go to something very specific. Please come here first. But,
Exactly.
you
And
know,
it's good to just know our backgrounds, because
yeah.
our future topics, like how we speak about them, is going to
Mhm.
be different, and how we've learned about them through like the different work we've done and the different things we've learned, it will be different, but it's good that we have different perspectives, and like this is kind of what it's rooted in, as well as like our other episodes about us and like why we're where we are, and like our different backgrounds, like those that all helps inform like how we feel about other things
Yep.
within public spaces.
Exactly. It really just, forms our professional opinion, not just school, not just where we work, not just our personal experience, but like a combination of all of those things. So, but
Absolutely.
yeah, we can wrap,
And
follow us on all social media
yes.
platforms, Instagram, YouTube. I don't know if we're gonna have Patreon by the time you listen to this, probably not, but if it exists, follow us on Patreon. At Street Smart, that is us. We're bringing you all of the good vibes, all of the good content. Watch us on YouTube. We're sexy. Look at our faces. Look
I'm
at
like
us.
repping VCU while like talking shit about it. But
I know
anyways,
she is. She is.
no,
It's
I'm
okay.
obsessed with that place. Uh,
You could just blur out
I
the
know.
thing, just the little blur it out.
Go Rams.
I should do that with this little Adidas thing too. Be like,
Oh
don't
my
worry.
god, yes.
This is not free advertising.
Free advertising.
I'm gonna
Thank
bleep out their names when I edit this. It's just gonna be like beep.
Oh my gosh.
Not free advertisement.
Oh.
Sponsor us. ECU.
But yeah, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and we will see you in the new year.
We will Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad,
Happy Hanukkah,
Hanukkah.
Kwanzaa,
Is
all the
Eid
things.
Mubarak at this time? I don't know. All of the holidays. Happy Lunar New Year, even though that's in January. Or
Yeah.
even if you don't celebrate anything, we hope that you are doing well.
We hope you have happy times.
Yes, we'll always wish the positive vibes on you guys.
Oh my gosh. All right. Bye, guys. Bye.